Hello, my beautiful friends. I'm Serenity Ravenwolf,
And I'm Robert Hubbs.
and together we are Love Heals
Love
Humanity.
heals humanity.
Absolutely, because that's there's love is the only answer and the only solution, right?
It is. It's actually also the question. Love? Yes.
Yeah, I chuck that. It makes it too long. It's the only answer. It's the only solution, and it's the only question. Because actually, honestly, if I don't know in any given moment or interaction,
Oh,
I always say, what would love do, be, or say here? So, in a way, it is kind of the only question, too, right?
it is. It is absolutely the only question. But
Yeah.
as you said, it just makes it too long. It's the only question, the only answer, the only option, the only solution.
It's
What we all need
everything,
more of.
it's the all
It's
there
everything.
is. Um,
It is the there
I'd
is.
like to welcome everybody onto our very, very, very first show, live streaming to social media platforms. And today's topic is live a serenity focused life, the greatest act of love, self love, actually, but
Yeah,
love
it's
in
the
general.
greatest act of self-love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while we're waiting for people to pop on, I'd actually love everyone to pop into the comments where you're from and say hi, just so we can fill in a little bit of time for a minute.
And to shortcut the quick answers, you're from Earth. We all know that. And if there's anybody who's not from Earth,
Well,
please
actually, I'm
don't
in
put that in the
Australia. Actually,
comments.
I love social media because I'm in Australia
Yep.
in the subtropics going into spring, and Robert happens to be.
Right now, I'm in Toronto, in Canada, and it's a little subtropical here right now, but only because we have that summer weather, end of season, crazy hot. But that's okay. I
Actually,
won't
I
last too
woke
long.
up to a message on the news, totally off topic, but Victoria in Australia, the bottom part on the southeast coast,
Yeah.
has just experienced snow. Arctic winds are blowing in, and it's spring on the first. Just added in. Kim, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Kim Comus says she's from Indiana. Welcome, Kim from Indiana.
Not
And
not
we
snowing
have,
there.
I pretty much, and we have the beautiful Sue Ryan Fraser saying hello from Florida, and we have the
Sure.
love, I know, and we have the lovely Lisa Jane Knight. Amen. Indeed, love always, and prayers, dear friends. Absolutely, that's my namaste for everybody. Oh,
I had a
we even have the Philippines watching us, Robert. We're global. Woohoo!
wow.
So
What time is it there?
I
Crazy.
know. For
That's
and
commitment.
I
I
know,
totally appreciate your commitment, my
I know,
friend.
and everybody, welcome. Today's topic. Where would we like to start, Robert?
Well, I mean, where do you start with a topic like living a serenity focused life? I mean, how do you even begin? I mean, it's it's a really interesting reflection on our world today is that we have to actually stop and take time and think about finding that place within us where we can, come within us, and it's an interesting comment on how crazy busy each and every one of us is each and every day and how much is going on in our world and at no I can think of no more important thing than to find within us that place where we can take a moment, take a deep breath, and take a look at our life.
Yeah,
Now is really important to do that.
yeah, and after all the bat poop crazy stuff that's been going on for the last couple of years, I'd like to
Ah,
share what has been the greatest, I don't know, shift, transformation, transmutation actually, from who I used to be. Ask my ex husband, he'll tell you what I used to be like 20 years or so ago. I wasn't always this calm and serene person that I've even given up my addiction to trauma and drama. And thank goodness I've been able to do this for long enough to allow my three beautiful daughters to know that you can live a drama and trauma free life. And the greatest shift for that has brought this serenity into my life, this tranquility, is shifting my perspective. So what I mean by that is two people can watch the exact same event. One person sees a loving person helping another, and someone else who sees the exact same event sees someone who's bullying somebody, like two opposite sides of the same coin. My thoughts are, which one lovingly supports me to live this serenity-filled life and to be at peace and to take up less of my time? Do you know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
and I've lived this way for ages, decades, well, at least 1 decade, and I've literally got to a point where by shifting my perspective about things, how I view things, how I gather the information of what's going on around me. Because I believe that, and what helped with that is I started loving my own heart by I love you, I love you, I love you. And if anyone's interested, I can share a little bit more about that simple process. And I realized at some point that everyone and everything that shows up in my life is purely the divine, giving me the opportunity to be love. So talk about shifting perspective. In the past, if someone showed up on my path spewing venom all over me, I may have reacted from my past pains and gone at them as well, which is in a way kind of what they're expecting. And then I started to realize that pretty much everybody is walking around in some form of pain. And all they're doing is expressing, projecting, releasing like air out of a balloon, the pain that they have within from their life, their experiences, their circumstances. So
the thing is, I want to kind of jump in on that is it's not wrong to release the pain. It's just a question of where.
And how.
Where do you release it? Well, yeah, how? I mean, obviously, if you release it in a way that's self-destructive or hurtful to others, it's not good. But I don't want to bottle up those things. No one should bottle that in.
Neither do they either. That's kind of why they're spewing it all over you and not realizing in a conscious way that they're doing it.
There's the issue is where and how, and not to aim it at people, because this idea of an eye for an eye, which is the most horrible thing. Let's take a wrong and add another wrong to it, and that'll fix everything. Yeah, no, not so much. It's hard though when especially when you're not in that space where you don't have that inner serenity, that inner calm, that moment where you can take a breath and just hear what's really happening. What you hear is the words.
Yes.
What you hear is the pain. What you don't hear is what's behind it, the suffering that comes from days, weeks, months, years, whatever, that person's own story, drama, whatever. Because you can't hear that. All we hear in the moment is that, and of course we react. Yeah. We're human.
Back to the scenario that I was mentioning a moment ago.
Yeah.
When the person does that, if I live from the premise of recognizing that whatever you want to call that, the all there is, and for me, God is an acronym, which means great overall designer. It's not the capital G word that religion uses. If God has my back always and in all ways, and this is shifting my perspective to knowing that I'm always supported, regardless of what has just shown up in front of me in my experiences. And so if GID always and in always has my back to support me in a loving way, if everyone and everything that shows up in my life is purely the divine, giving me the opportunity to be love, then when that person shows up on me, what if I am the one thing that might shift the trajectory of their life forever by not reacting as they're potentially expecting or everyone else does, but to just stand there and be love. And I live my entire life from the premise of I love and I bless and celebrate the heck out of everything. So when they keep spewing their and I understand from NLP, pattern interrupting, right? So the greatest pattern interrupt in situations like this I've found is to throw them a compliment. I wait till they take a breath and I throw them a compliment. And they keep going and I say, oh, well, yeah, they're deep in their hole. Got it. I'll wait a moment and I'll wait a moment. And I just stand there as love, not reacting, enveloping them with love, saying my mantra over in my mind. I acknowledge your pain. I love you all as well. Bless you. Thank you. I'm grateful. And then I wait another moment and I make, if I have to give a compliment again, I always make sure it's exponentially bigger and more grandiose than the last one. So I throw in a bigger one. They stop speaking, pattern interrupt for a millisecond. I go, oh, almost. And then they keep going. And then I wait again. And if I have to do it a third, because a third time's a charm, if I have to do it a third time, I make it huge and grandiose. So this one example that I'm sharing is, I eventually said, you know, out of all the universes, galaxies, and all there is, out of all the lords I've ever met, you have to be the lordiest lord of them all. And I said that with love and presence. And totally pattern interrupted them. And they said nothing for a moment. And then they said, you know, I like you. And I said, well, what a coinkydink. I love you. I like you. In fact, I even love you. How can you love me? You've just met me. Just because you're breathing. Because I see the seed in you that's also the seed in me that is the divine. And I said, sorry, but I interrupted you. What were you saying? I don't know. That's right. And then I changed the subject. You know, that's helping even someone else shift their perspective because your perspective is shifted. And by doing something, being able to do that, that's not just self-love for you, because that whole interaction felt better for me. Mm-hmm. But what if I just, in that moment, by being a loving presence for someone, completely changed? So I'm not to know that person isn't a doctor and they're going back and now they're going to make right, beautiful diagnoses for people for the afternoon. If I reacted, what if they then went and prescribed someone the wrong medication?
Or even something not that, it doesn't have to be something that major. It can be something small. It's just that difference between, you know, the going home and just being happy, being terse with their spouse, or just being joyful, or going home and like, man, I met the most, you know, amazing and unexpected person today, versus getting home and just having nothing to say because they're trying to contain the bad. I mean, it doesn't have to be as grand as a good or bad diagnosis. It can be much worse than that. It could be they'd stop paying attention on the drive and get into an accident and injured or worse. But it can be the little thing that just is the difference between going home and having a good conversation and having a bad conversation. And both are just miraculous when it's for the better, when we can put that happy in someone else. But I don't want to think about this for me. I don't want to think about this in terms of I'm just doing it to make everybody else happy. It's nothing to do with that. I'm glad that they take happiness from it, but I do this for me. I don't want to be focused on being miserable all the time. There's enough of that in the world. You know, there's enough. I just share a story with you. My mother's second husband was not congenial to a lot of people. And I remember one time he was on a moment of unhappiness and was, I don't know, ranting. Let's say ranting. And I must have had a huge smile on my face because he stops his rant, mid rant, and what are you smirking at? And I'm just like, I love you. And
Yeah.
he had nothing to say. He had nothing. He just like had no comeback for it. He actually had to walk away because there was no sarcasm in my voice. There was no nothing other than exactly what it was. But there was nothing to hold on to. He couldn't argue. He couldn't fight with it.
But
I
even
didn't do it for that reason.
no, but even beyond that, Robert, in the unseen world, I'm of the belief that everyone on the planet, whether they're aware of it or not, we're psychic satellite dishes.
Yeah.
And pretty much, 98% of all the stuff we're taking in and feeling and experiencing in the moment, potentially doesn't even belong to us. So in
No,
that
well,
moment,
it
when you
doesn't.
say I love you from that very pure, authentic, expansive space, there is nothing to question. It's the difference between me or you saying I love you and the smarmy car salesman saying I've got a car for you. And you feel that it's smarmy. It didn't feel smarmy, it felt authentic, and it throws people. Asking the viewers that are watching to write in the comments so that I could share on the screen any experiences that you've had where you've shifted your perspective of something, viewed something in a different way than you normally would have, and how much more peaceful that has left you feeling, and potentially even those that you've interacted with. Happily share that on the screen if you share it in the comments, because the comments are coming through. Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I can't see comments right now. I don't know. It must have been the way when I signed in. Full disclosure, everyone, I had a little bit of tech challenge before we got going
A
today,
little bit.
of course,
And we
a
showed up
little
on
bit.
time. I'm impressed.
And we showed up on time because nothing stands in the way of getting stuff done. So,
Totally off topic, but on topic.
yeah.
Talk about like shifting perspective, having a new perspective, having a different perspective.
Yep.
And how do you know which perspective, actually? Two things. How do you know which perspective is whichever one lovingly supports you and allows you to, in many ways, be your own divinely loving guide and presence? But perspective with Robert and I today, because we had tech challenges, the perspective of how we're sitting on this video is I look way bigger and taller than Robert, and Robert looks like a midget. Though in the actual reality, I'm 5 foot tall, which is 152 centimeters, and Robert is ridiculously tall. How tall are you, Robert? 161 or something?
6'4", 193 centimeters, 194 centimeters. Yeah.
Just saying, I would lucky to come up just below Robert's chest. Maybe. So,
I When I look in the screen, I'm right near the top of the window. You're almost at midpoint, so I don't know.
yeah,
I
but
can't
it's
again.
kind
I
of
can't.
like you'd see this and you'd expect that I'm the tall one. But if you met us in life, your perspective would just go, wow, okay.
Ah, that's a message. It's a perspective.
That's what I thought. That showed up perfectly well today, right? Um, yeah. Well, I'd like to keep these actually rather short,
Yeah,
20 to 30 minutes long moving forward. We will be having one of these as best we can once a week.
every week. Yeah.
Every week for
Hey,
20
if
to
we could
30
show
minutes.
up for this one,
If we can show up for this one with all the tech challenges we had, yeah, absolutely. And on time. What I would like to do though is I have some affirmations that I would like to share with you all about the new perspective to allow you to have a serenity-filled life, which is the greatest act of self-love. So if you would all, and then I would like to just, I'd like to offer 5 minutes of, there's this new sort of healing energy coming through. But by new, I mean what used to take me an hour to do is taking me about 15 minutes. So I'm thinking 5 minutes of this immense energy that's coming through with my intention to allow healing. So I'll say the affirmations, And then we can move into we've got beautiful Celine from Maine popping in. But I'll say these affirmations now. So if you'd all like to just take a deep breath in and out. I am open to discovering new perspectives in every situation. I appreciate my profound power of energy flow. I watch for synchronicities from the outside world as it indicates when it is time for action. I can be realistic and dream big. I imagine a new reality that supports me and supports others. Feel the serenity from that. I can feel everybody just now feels very, very serene. Speaking of love and serene, Robert, I'd like to bring up on the screen, because we're bringing together I've gone blank. There it is. Where is it? Oh, and definitely I'm inviting everybody. I've popped up on the screen because we have a group with 14.8 thousand people in the group. It's the most beautiful, loving group of people I have ever met. Oh, we have London, Ontario, Canada. I had no idea there was a London. Thank you, Jocelyn, for joining us.
There's a London in Ontario, there's a Paris.
There's a London and a Paris. There you go. I'd like to invite you all to be a part of our beautiful, loving and supportive community at the Love Heals Humanity group. The link is on the screen there, which is facebook.com/groups/Love Heals Humanity. Definitely. We have fun and inspire over there. And where else are we? That and that. So Robert and I are creating together a Soulmate Success Secrets course, and we'd like to, it's not there yet, we'd like to invite you to join the VIP wait list, because anybody that's on the anyone and everyone that's on the VIP wait list will be invited to purchase the course at a deep dive discount. Just because we love you and like to thank you for your patience for waiting.
And we're going to have an introductory session on clarity even before that happens. And if you're on the wait list, we'd love to have you join us. We'd love to have you join us. That's along with getting clear on what I want in a life and in a love partner and all those pieces. It's clarity is really powerful in most of the rest of the life as well. Most of the rest of your life, it's been a huge factor in everything I do. And when you're clear on stuff, it's so much easier to also be calm, to be in that moment of tranquility, serenity, clarity.
And I'd like to, Joanne Markham says, hi from Texas. I love your attitude and encouragement. And Joanne, that gives me literally tingles all over and tears into my eyes, because I love so much. And my greatest desire is to lovingly be the divinely loving presence and support for myself. And then because I can be that for myself, I am that for others. And I am so deeply, completely, utterly head over heels in love with humanity.
And Joanne, thank you for joining us especially with all the flooding that's going on in Texas, and our heart goes out to all the people imperiled by the weather, and just yet another example of why we need more love. We need neighbors helping neighbors and friends, and we're really grateful to have you here, and thank you for joining us.
Serenity, as a part of a new perspective, about 15 years ago, I stopped watching the news, reading magazines, even secondhand in a doctor's office. So unless I see it in my Facebook newsfeed or someone tells me, I have no idea what's going along. So now I can add, that's shown up in my life, to be love, So I will definitely, how about we just spend a moment and we open our hearts and share love with not just Texas, but anyone and everyone, every place that is experiencing weird weather patterns.
Flooding all over the world right
Anyone
now.
who's coming at the world from nothing but their pain. With, another concept that I live by is that when someone is experiencing, like that person in the example I gave of, spewing venom all over me, being really rather a horrible, rude person, when they show up like that, they deserve more love, never less. When they show up as angry or sad or whatever the emotion, they deserve more love, never less. In that moment, if I am uncomfortable or have a problem with how they're showing up in front of me, in that moment, I deserve more love, never less. And I will go there first, because I cannot be that divinely loving presence for another until I am that for myself. How about that for shifting perspective?
That's a perspective shifter.
Actually, we have the beautiful, let me turn that off again. We have the beautiful Celine, and I can't pronounce your last name, sorry, so I won't ruin it. Celine says, glad to be here though it's getting late in the UK. I have so much love and gratitude for you joining us at this time from the UK.
Yeah.
I think it's like 1 or something a.m. in the morning in the UK right now. So yes, so I was leading into, so yeah, that's all I wanted to share about the upcoming Soulmate Success Secrets course. This is an opportunity for you to, if you're remotely interested, please join the waitlist, and then you still have a choice whether you'd like to join us on the 6-week online course or not. But you have Robert and I delivering the course with only love in our hearts and souls for everybody.
And a strong group of like-minded,
Yes.
very much focused and, love-filled people, because that's the people we always draw to us. And we're looking to find more to help us spread this mission, to spread this joy, and to help you find your fulfillment, your love.
Yeah. And just to share with you, like, who am at least one of us, who am I to be delivering this course? I live with my soulmate. I met him online with internet dating about in end of 2006, and we are still together, and every day I just love him more. And yes, he drives me bat poop crazy sometimes, because he's logical. He's a German computer scientist, so he's logical at one end of the spectrum, and I'm the woo-woo gal at the other end, and we communicate very differently.
You are.
Outside of that frustration, the man absolutely feeds my soul, is my best friend, and I feel complete and whole. So I believe everyone should have their soulmate. If you're interested, we can show you how. Let's move past this, because I would like to finish off with just a 5-minute healing. So this is an opportunity for you to drop off, because we're going to say goodbye after the 5 minutes worth of healing, or I'm just going to offer 5 minutes worth of healing. And what I'd like you to do is to expand your energies out into the universes and beyond, which means beyond where you are, and just that's right. And I'd like to get you out of your head, so everything that's going on in your life will present itself to you as a feather of any shape, color, or size. And as feathers do, it will drop down, 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 landing gently in the sacred space of your heart. And from here, this is my opportunity to give you maybe even just a little giggle, and it's designed that way, because laughter expands your energy. Now, close your eyes. And I will just sit here. If you see me doing weird movements, it's me doing activation things with my hands. It's all good. And actually, I'm going to put all this energy into an energy ball, and I will share it with all of you when we are done. And you may be feeling the energy of this right now about shifting perspective. I love you. I love you. Oh, beautiful one. I love you. I love you. I love you. Sharing this beautiful healing energy with you for those that may have just jumped on the call or jumped on the show. Jumped on. I love you. I love you. Silence. I love you. To avoid silence, I can just say I love you because I do. I love you. I love you. I love you. And each and every one of you that I haven't met yet are purely just family I haven't met yet. I love you. We are one. We are one heart. Individual expressions of the one heart, the one love. I love you. Okay, we'll keep it short. I can feel the energy start to dissipate. So what I'm going to do is this beautiful energy ball that I just created. If all of you are open and welcome the energy of this love that we have just filled this energy ball up with, I will just make it smaller and I'm going to blow it like a beautiful fragrant rose to enter the sacred space of your heart, to bloom the love of the all there is and the love that you are. Love is your birthright. If this is what helps you shift your perspective, then Robert and I being here today has been well worth it. And on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. I love you. I love you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We will be on same bat time, same bat channel next week.
No bats.
Yeah, you know, I love everything. What can I say? Even bats. So the dates for next week
bats.
are the 30th for Robert's side, the US side, Canadian side of the planet, and it's at 5 p.m. Pacific, and it's the 31st of August for Australia at 10 a.m. AEST, because we don't have daylight savings here, which is not such a bad thing. And the topic for next week is revolutionize your belief systems with these easy peasy tips. So
that'll be a fun one.
I know. Yes. So I'd love for you all to join us next week. Thank you so much for showing up, and remember always, I love you. Just because.
Love to everyone for joining. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.